Good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever. Welcome, guys, to this live video. I'm doing this kind of a last minute. I was supposed to have an interview today, but for some kind of bad circumstances, it's been canceled. So I thought I would jump live because I have nothing to publish for now. But I don't know what I want to do. I have nothing planned for today, and this honestly, I have like no topic, nothing that I thought about to share with you guys. But I want to do maybe like a Q&A or something similar. Not too sure. If you guys want to join me live, comment below in the chat. I might repeat myself because I just started that. No one is live, but yeah. If you're watching the replay, then just scroll ahead a little bit. It's gonna be the boring part, but yeah, we'll try to deal with that as soon as we can. Comment in the chat if you're watching me live. I would appreciate. And should take not much time. We should have some people joining us pretty soon. I'm just like on schedule, not planned at all. But comment below, guys, if you are joining me live. Sorry for that miswording. And yeah, wonderful, Anthony, perfect. Love that. Cool. So Anthony's the only one to. You guys know already that I had a live schedule this evening, but turned out the guests had some issues that we had to reschedule a few times. Welcome from Italy, Khaled. Wonderful. So what I thought I would do, guys, is I'm a little bit scared because I thought I would jump live anyway, and I have no plan, nothing to talk about, no lesson, no topic, but we'll figure something out to talk about. And you guys are always gonna ask questions as always, I'm sure. So we'll do like a, kind of a Q&A on the go, improvise on the spot with you guys. And if you have any topic you would like me to talk about, anything that, yeah. Bad news is I had an interview schedule. It's been rescheduled, but the guest couldn't make it for some bad circumstances, and I don't know much about it. But we'll have to reschedule that for another time. So that's the bad news. It's not, yeah, it's pretty bad, but depending what happens. Anyway, welcome Sammy. So yeah, little quick Q&A to quick could last a few hours. Who knows? But I want to jump live. I want to answer you guys' question as always, and I don't know what to talk about. You guys should know what to talk about. Comment below in the chat with one thing you're struggling with right now, one thing you want to learn. I'll try to just run on that and get this Q&A going, or this live streaming, whatever, however you want to call this. Yeah. So, in the meantime, we'll try to schedule the interview for later, maybe another day or something. And yeah, perfect. Let me pop up the chat. I could go through the chart if you guys want. I have a bunch of things we could talk about on that. But I want to make sure that we address whatever you're struggling with right now, whatever you have in your mind, or whatever you've been working on the past week to make this more actionable. Okay? So that's the plan for right now. Let's see. So for now we have Sammy, Ed, wonderful. Khaled, Louis, perfect Louis. I think Louis from, good. Welcome Julius, that's great. So yeah, quick recap. Once again, if you guys have any question, anything you want me to talk about, I thought I would jump live today because I had a live stream interview scheduled with a guest. I couldn't make it, but that's alright. We have to deal with that stuff sometimes. Talk about almost being profitable. Sean, explain a little bit more on that. We could talk about that. What it takes to be profitable, but that's a whole topic in itself. We could talk 5 hours about that topic for sure. And I could, yeah. Favorite trade, Julius. That's cool. Yeah. Actually, okay, so here's what I want to do first. I want to show you guys a trade for the past week. So as you know, on Monday, I always publish a technical analysis review. I look at the market, all the pairs I follow, and I publish that for you guys. Now, I thought, well, what I want to do this week is I want to record this, but today's like the day I recorded for Monday. So I recorded the whole thing, but I didn't really talk about the trade setup I took the past week. And it's been a tough week, honestly. It's been like a really kind of bad, tough week. So I think we could go on the chart, show you guys the trade. If that's something you want to hear about, comment below in the chat if that's something you're interested in. If the charts are too boring, then we'll do something different. But quick question. Let's see. Ed, after putting up a trade and saying you take profit stop loss, if price goes in your favor, get close to take profit and begin reverse against you. Love that. That's a good question. Okay, I want to address that first, then we'll go on the chart if you guys agree. That's a good question, and I think I've answered that like 5 times the past week. Question about stop loss, and I guess you close a trade when it goes back against you. So here's the thing: if you go back and watch the past videos of a few months or a few, well, like a year ago or so, you'll see that I also often talk about like moving stop loss to break even. Okay, I would basically enter a trade. I would put a take profit at 1-to-1, and then at let's say 2-to-1 reward to risk. And when we would reach the first target, 1-to-1, I would like close half the I would close half the trade, but I would also move the stop loss to break even. Okay, and that was kind of how I dealt with that stuff before. Now this was really good, and it really helped me become profitable. I think it's something that kind of made me more patient, made me understand that I wouldn't lose many trades. In fact, my win rate was like way higher in that time. I was winning like maybe 75% plus of my trades, and that was good. Okay, but the trades I was winning were smaller, of course, because I would split the trade in half. The average reward of a winning trade was 1.5 of reward to risk, which is quite lower. Okay, it's quite low compared to the 2 I have now. But yeah, it made it easier for me to. Welcome, John. Wonderful. Yeah, it made it easier for me to stick to it and to follow the plan, and to, even if I had a couple of bad trades, they were probably going to be break-even trade, which is really good. Now, back a few months ago, I was looking at that. I did some tests. I went through, and you guys probably remember I shared that video on the channel. I went through all the pairs I followed. I still have like these boards on Trello that I could even show you guys. Let's do that. It's gonna be interesting. Let's open Trello. I have these Trello boards. Those are basically boards of all the pairs I followed. Okay, and I've been backtesting all of this, looking at what was the best take profit to take. Was it 2-to-1, 3-to-1? Would it make sense to move the stop loss to break even when we get to 1-to-1 avoid to risk? And I realized, so even before that, I realized that most of my trades, like price would go in my favor. I would get like the first take profit at 1-to-1, and then it would pull back to the entry or something similar to that. It will be stopped out with overall like a 0.5 reward to risk, which is very low. Okay, so I thought, and I've looked at the market a lot, and I realized that most of the trades that happen in a sideways market, it's very easy to be stopped out when you move your stop loss to break even, because price normally in a sideways market is going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. While when it's trending, it's going to be more like up, down, and then more up, and then more down, then more up, then more down. Okay, so it's going to be more equilibrated, and you can move your stop loss to these low points. In a reversal trade, it's harder to do, in my opinion. You might find a way to make it work, but for me, it's been really hard. Okay, so let me share the screen here. That's going to be very on the spot. But here's what happens. Okay, this is these are some boards on Trello, whatever. I have my trading journal there. I have a couple of things. But I'm just gonna show you guys a trade. Here's an example of this was a test on the Euro CAD, for example. And I've been taking a few trades. This is not a big one. It's a pretty small one. There might be some bigger ones, but basically the idea is that I would look at the winning trade. Okay, I would look at how far they move in my favor. This one, let's say this one was a 3-to-1 reward to risk. I was testing 3-to-1 at that time, and see, this would be winning trade based on the same strategy I trade now. And I've been doing that for like a lot of pairs, because some pairs don't have many trades, some pairs have a lot more, just based on how much I tested every pair and kind of what period I was looking at. But I would test all of this, okay, with a fixed reward to risk. And I even have some boards where it's like broken down into which one reach 3-to-1, 2-to-1, 1-to-1 to make the count easier. And that's kind of how I dealt with that. Okay, it's a lot of calculation, a lot of numbers, but that's kind of how it works. Okay, so this one was a losing trade with 3-to-1 3-to-1 avoid to risk approximately, but a losing trade. Okay, and I would look at all of that, and I realized that the best way for me would be not to move the stop loss to break even though that means having a like a lower win rate, but overall a bigger reward to risk. Okay, because most of the trade don't get to break even, they get further. Or if I'm gonna, let's say, if price can go pull back to the entry, at least I'm gonna still be in the trade for some time, and it can always go back in my direction, which is kind of what I went with. Okay, so that's the principle here. Let me get back to this, and I'll have a look at the chat. Yeah, it's perfect. Guess that's the answer to the long answer to Julius' question. Or no, that was Ed. Sorry about that. Ed, yeah, great question. Why do you I try to keep turning a big top and bottom instead of just going with the trend? Louis, that's a good question. Louis is asking why do I try to always, or why does he try to always pick the top and the bottom as opposed to going with the trend? There's nothing wrong with that. That's totally fine, as long as you do it with some constraint, like within the box, like within some limits. And some people are more inclined to trade trends. Some people are more inclined to trade reversals. I'm personally a very, I think, very bad trend trader. Okay, I understand everything about breakouts, everything about trading trends, pullbacks, but when it comes to doing it, I don't really do it right. I feel like I'm missing something. Okay, and it really doesn't work well for me in the market. As opposed to reversal trades, I'm really good at that. I have no problem. I can do them. Like I can trade reversal trades any time of the day. And yes, of course, like it's tougher to see price pulling down and picking the bottom, and even though you always have your setup anyway, right? To confirm that it's going to be a good opportunity. But the point is that if you're better at that, there's no problem with it. It's totally fine. As long as you have your setup, your limits, your constraints that tells you, well, this is profitable over time. Okay? So nothing wrong with that for sure. And with a little profit, uh, I'm trying to read the ad's question with little profit. Or you wait to see if it's yeah. So yeah, basically I wait for it to reach a stop loss, of course. Yeah. Trailing stop is key. Okay. Joan, yeah. Joan has a different style. I think Joan, comment below, but it's been a long time we didn't talk. So are you scalping now or are you swing trading? I'm kind of curious if you're still here. I think he's still here. John is a student of the academy. He's been through a lot of training. He's been through a lot of practice too. So, but we talk about swing trading. We talk about scalping with him. So I'm kind of curious. But yeah, okay. Let's get on the chart. I want to show you guys a tough week in the market, and this has been a really tough week. And wait, let me close the email and everything behind. I'll share my screen after that. Keep in mind we'll have a weekly review as always on Monday, but for now this is just like going through the stuff and showing you guys what that's about. Wow, trading is like really slow at this moment. Okay, on the chart. Here we go. So, we talked about this earlier and I kind of am tempted to do the whole review now, but I'll keep it to the basics. But this is a really good pair we're talking about. We had no setup on this pair. Okay, reaching this resistance area. We didn't have anything to trade on that. At least I didn't have anything for myself. You might be trading that, but this was like a very good zone. And it seems like price really pushed strongly at that zone. Okay, but enough talking about that. Trades for the week. There was a trade, the most recent trade I talked about, I'm not sure if I shared this one, was on USD CAD. And I think, did I share this one with you guys? I'm not too sure. I think I did earlier in the week. Yeah. I did share that trade. And I did share the other one too before. So it's kind of, yeah. I'll repeat myself. Anyway, I'm good at that. So USD CAD was a zone we talked about earlier. We had a few people commenting on different on the past week's review that a lot of the major pairs like USD CAD, I think USD, the pairs with your USD CAD, USD Mexican pesos, USD or Euro USD were pretty much all at major levels. Okay, USD CAD was a good example. Now we need to see a setup, in my opinion, to take trades on that. We cannot just say, well, they're at major levels, let me trade that. It's not how it works. Okay, so we've been at this level here on the daily chart. Now it doesn't look really clear here, but if you go on the weekly chart, it's going to be super clear. Okay, super nice level. This way right here, what we touched here in the past 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, whatever. Now you go no time frame to look for trade setup because I don't trade the weekly chart ever. I find it totally boring and it would take years to close the trade. So I'm gonna go no time frame. And for this one, I've seen this on the 60-minute chart, but this for me is not a valid setup. This doesn't count as a good setup. So I went in the forward chart. I waited a little bit, of course. Forward chart, there was this good setup here. So this is a pretty big wick. Put this here. There you go. Pretty big wick. Engulfing candle after that. So you enter below low, stop loss above the high. You are to risk 1 to 1 and 3 to 1. And price went all the way here. This didn't trigger the 1 to 1 at all. Okay, this is like 0.80 something, I think. Yeah, 80, 84, 85, 89, whatever. This is not 3 to 1 yet. So we didn't reach the first take profit. Now, the trade is like trade went back to a loss. And here in that case, if I were to exit, let's say break even or stuff, if I were to move the stop loss wouldn't have been moved yet. So because we didn't close the first half. But I don't move my stop loss, so forget what I said. Price went in that direction, pull back. So what you do, well, you just wait. There's nothing to do here. You won't try to force trade, you won't try to push things. You just wait, you do the same thing as you do. And you go outside, do something different. Okay, but I've been waiting on this. Now it looks like it pushed above, went back in profit. This is like Friday. Is the market closed now? No, it's not closed yet. Yeah, because I'm in Europe. All messed up in time zones. But no, the market's not closed now, so we'll see what happens till the market close for the weekend. But for now, we just have to wait. Okay. Now, let me see the chat for a second. Cool, perfect. We'll get to that. So, there was a trade setup I missed earlier this week. I think show it to you guys. I hope I can find this one back. But yeah, let me know guys if you understand the whole process and the trades we talked about. And if not, then we can clarify this. But I'm trying to find the trade setup I missed this week. It was a pretty good one. And I've seen it earlier. I just cannot remember the pair. You go on the weekly chart. Yeah, I think it was this pair, AD USD. So you go here on the 60-minute chart. That was not the trade. Huh. No either. Can't be on Euro pair for sure, because they didn't move at all the past week. Yeah, just because we're here and since I talk about this, and it's a decal, we talked about this pair last week. I just flagged it this week because it's reaching a major resistance area, like this zone right here, which I'll highlight right away. And that's about it, I think. There was no other setup. And the other trade I talked about, of course, was on, I think, ADUSD. Let's see if the trade was on this pair. No, we didn't have any move on this. Anyway, guys, getting confusing now, and I'm rambling, but the other trade I talked about was on AUDUSD, and I actually let me pulled up the trade journal because it's gonna be easier to look at because I really don't remember the trade. Okay, so trading journal. This was a good losing trade. Okay, long AUDUSD at the 0.75 area. So we talked about this one earlier. This was a bullish setup. Enter above the high, plus below the low. And we were to risk 3 to 1. Okay, so this one was a loss. So this week has basically been a losing week, right? It's been a losing trade and a trade missed. And the other trade was still open, so it's not counted yet as a profit or a loss. But that was the review of the week. So 3 trades, well, one missed, but that's part of the process. Let's get back to the chat. Good question. Love that question, Asaf. Do you find the forward trade with better winning ratio, so the win rate? Actually, I find the 1 hour chart trades to have a better win rate because the targets are actually easier to reach, and you tend to have more movement on the 1 hour candle than a 4 hour chart. Okay, so I've personally seen that they tend to work better than the 4 hour chart, but there's not a big difference. It's pretty similar. Might be like say a 50% or 60% win rate on the 1 hour chart, and a 40% win rate on the or 50% win rate on the 4 hour chart. Not too bad, but they're pretty similar. Okay. So John is saying, been focusing on market maker method. So busy moving away from scalping, focusing on swing trading. That's perfect. That's great. So moving from scalping to swing trading, that's really interesting. And there's a lot of work to be done in that for sure. Yeah. Cool guys, I feel I'm rambling. I feel we went through what we had to talk about. Comment below if you have any question, or if not, comment below the video after when it's published if you have any questions also. And that's a good comment. Julius, the week taught me to take profits before they disappear. Hard week for me too. Take trade stocks and options mainly. Okay, interesting. So I don't really know much about stocks and options at this time, but yeah, it's yeah, you can take profit. Yeah, there's different cool stuff with that. You can either try to maximize the taking profit, so taking profit on most of your trades, or you can just like try to detach yourself from it. So for myself, I don't really care about taking profit. I prefer to do what I need to do and then just leave. Just leave and go do something else and taking profits. But yeah, definitely like if you're at a point where it's kind of hard for you to sustain the trading and to keep showing to keep showing up every day, then yes, you might want to take profit earlier. At least you get your profit, you can do whatever you want and you feel better. And it's easier to come back and place a trade when you know you kind of take profit or move stop loss, break even, stuff like that. That's much easier. Yeah. So really good point, Julius. VLT, what's up? You spoke about having multiple streams of income. Yeah. Can you share more about? Can you share what you're working on? Yeah. That's a good thing we could talk about. So at this point, and I think let's just take back the discussion from the beginning. So a lot of you guys are asking what you can do to make multiple streams of income. I'm pretty sure most of you guys here, you have a full-time job that you work in, and this is something you've taken maybe months or years to learn. So why not first start to, let's say, teach that job some other people? Okay, it could be done online. It could be done with many different ways. Kind of what I do, like kind of what I did. So I started to learn trading. I got good at it. I was able to trade profitably, and I started to teach other people and help other people at the same time. Because the job you have, you can teach it to other people. And that's, I think, the easiest way to make money on the side. That's a really good option. Now, yeah, then there's a lot. Then of course it depends like what you like to do, and I want to try to keep this actionable for you guys. Like I don't want to just talk about what I do, but yeah, we'll talk about a lot of stuff. So a lot of what I've been doing now has been around kind of this art trade, the whole brand, the whole podcast, the whole videos, the everything, so the site. And I'm trying to look different ways to generate income with that, of course. That's like part of it. And I won't try to hide to you guys that I'm like there to generate income. That's like what business are for in all cases. Cool. EA. We'll talk about it after. Welcome, Gay. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the principle, and pretty much what I've done now. I think like the way I see it for myself is that yes, you can generate income many different ways. You can buy real estate. You can do a lot of things that you like. I've kind of been the route with like having a brand, and for me that's kind of what I like the most. I like to do videos, so I try to focus on that to generate more income, of course, because that's just helping me trade better anyway. And there's plenty of things like that you can do. So most of what I've been doing has been around this art trade, trying to build the audience, of course, trying to help people as much as I can, because this is what generates income over time. It's not about just trying to sell something, because people, like, I'm not here to sell anything. I'm here to help people, first of all. And that's kind of what I've been focusing on these past few months. So I hope that answered the question of VLT. We'll get into more detail on that. But I think people want to hear trading stuff, so yeah, I don't talk about that too much. But if you guys want to hear about it, then make sure you comment below, because I feel there's like a lot of lessons I can teach about these things. Either it's gonna be having a brand, or helping, like, teaching trading or stuff, or whatever. There's a lot to be taught on that, but I feel like people won't want to learn that or something similar. So yeah. Good question from a guy. Have you tried using EA to manage your trades? Yeah, I never tried that. Although I was speaking with one of my students last week, Alejandro, who's more into coding than I am. I think he's getting better at it than I am, for sure. So we talked about a few options for different things, but nothing for managing trades. No, because right now the way I do it, there's no management in my trades. Like, you put the trade, you leave, and then you're done with it. So of course, if you have a fancy way to take profit and to move your stop loss, having an EA is great. But at this point, for me, it's not really necessary. I don't think so. And especially being high time frame like this, it doesn't really bother me to look at the chart every 4 hour or every day. That's not a problem. Okay, I will admit that looking at the chart every hour is tough. It's more difficult, but 4 hour and daily, it's totally fine. Do you consider 1 hour resistance support on 1 hour entry? No, just look at the hour time frame. Yeah, as stuff. And in fact, I believe the best trades I have are the one where it's just pulling back the support or the resistance area and bouncing right away. So on the lower time frame, it looks scary because it's like a down move, and then, like, there's nothing before. But then when you have the setup there and you buy, it's usually a pretty good setup. Okay, not always, of course, but most of the time those are leading to good reward to risk, and they're taking profit pretty fast usually. Hope that makes sense. Joan, when you trade, you focus on the initial of the week. That's a really good question. Sure, guys. So, Joan is asking to look at the high and the low of the week. I didn't really look at that, although I had an idea of doing that at some point. I started to backtest something, but this is gonna be, I feel, really good for intraday traders, where they look at the high and the low of the week to trade intraday, because those are ideally support resistance areas for the week. But if you're gonna trade on high time frame, like the 4 hour chart, the daily chart, or no, the 1 hour chart would be fine. But if you trade on the 4 hour chart and the daily chart, this is kind of hard to use, because in a week you won't have any candle, and even if you were to test this level, I'm not sure nothing would happen on this on this time frame. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. But I don't really look at that too much. Cool, guys. Let's see how much time this has been going on for. I think it's been a few minutes. 30 minutes. Pretty good. Pretty good. Good on time. Yeah. I wish I had a good lesson to share with you guys, but I've been filming all day. Oh, here's a good lesson. So, and this is going to be outside of training completely. Most of the time, I try to take Uber to come to go wherever I want to go. Like, it's so efficient. You're sure not to get scammed, pretty much, and it's really fast. So, and it's usually cheaper than a taxi. But tonight, for some reason, my cell phone ran out of battery. So for the first time in like 5-6 months, I had to run to find a taxi. It's been kind of a challenge. It's been funny, but I didn't really do that for a long time. So, but then taxi ended up costing like 2 or 3 times, almost 4 times the price of a typical Uber that I thought it would cost, which is kind of high. But anyway, it's just fun. And so, but I was happy because I didn't get scammed, of course, and the taxi driver was pretty friendly. So that's a good thing. But yeah, if you can use Uber whenever you can, that's always better, I think. Always a nice thing when you travel. one of these apps you have to have when you travel, for sure. What's oh good question, Asaf, I love it. What's the next country you plan to visit? It's gonna be Germany, and I'm leaving on Sunday, so in 2 days from today. And then it's gonna be after Germany will be Porto in Portugal, and then Dublin, and then back to Canada for a few, just a couple of weeks. Sammy, what do you put your stop loss when you buy anticipating a reversal at a level below the low of my setup? Okay, so I look at the low, the most recent low, and yes, that's the heat, and that's where I put the stop loss. Okay, if let's say it's gonna be, if the low might not be the most recent candlestick, might be a few candlesticks ago. If there's like one of these weird setups sometimes, but usually it's gonna be the most recent candlestick. Okay, put it below the low a few pips away, and that's my stop loss. And of course, like this is not what I sometimes tell people when they have bigger strategies is that they can, I mean on higher time frames, that they can put a stop loss beyond the support or resistance area. Now this is really good in theory, it works really well, but in practice it's kind of hard to do because you're gonna have a bigger stop loss. Yes, when you stop out less, but your trades are gonna take more time to reach your take profit, which is a kind of a compromise to make. Might be good, might not be good, but you go with whatever you want. For me, I prefer the low. It's kind of easier, and I just feel comfortable with that. So that's how it works. Can you please suggest any price action books? Any price action books? Yeah, sure. Uh, I can suggest some for sure, but I want you guys to comment below in the chat and suggest some price action book you've read. I'll give mine, but you can give other ones or the same. Doesn't matter. To help Shiam. Yeah. So first book is gonna be how's it called? Japanese Candlestick Charting Techniques by Steve Nyson. Really good book. Then Naked Trading or Naked Forex by Walter Peter. That's another good price action book. And also I think I made two ones. I don't think there's many more. Purely price action. Oh, of course, Al Brooks. I don't know what the book is called, but all the books by Al Brooks are good. And yeah, we have Semi Naked Forex. It's good. Yeah, love that. And Walter Peter was on the podcast if you want to listen to the interview. Tom, would you say that $2,500 is enough to start trading in mini futures? I've been studying for 4 years supply and demand methodology. I don't know about futures, Tom. Forex, that would be fine to start. It would be even a lot. Futures, I'm not too sure. I've heard some people say 5,000 is the minimum to start futures because it takes more money to buy something, to buy some units. But I'm not exactly sure. I cannot really answer that because I've never traded future myself. And Khaled, any trip to Italy? Not for now. I don't think so. But I would love to go to Italy at some point. I almost planned a trip to Italy, but just didn't have time this time. Yeah, welcome Antoine. Perfect. Do you identify a trending market or sideways market for your setup? Yeah, kind of done. Yeah, I do. So what I do is I look at the chart. I place some lines for my support resistance areas. Those will guide me. If there's no line that I can place, it means it's trending for sure. Or it's like messy, but usually trending. If I can place line, then it's sideways. And I usually know beforehand whether it's sideways or trending. And I just deal with that after. Are you a full-time trader? Kind of. But I've never... And here's what's really important. I don't... Like, for 95% of traders that are profitable... for 95... I can rephrase this. For 95% of traders who are trading full-time, it's not really their full-time job, okay? Because they don't really show up and trade all day. I know very few people who do only that. And the traders I talk to, most of them, they don't just trade all day. So I consider myself to be kind of trading full-time, but seeing trading as a stream of income, not as a full-time thing. Because I would absolutely hate just trading all day, and even if I were traveling, even if I were to be in different countries, I would hate to trade all day, and I would hate to just do trading. Because for me, it's not fulfilling enough. But for some people, it is. For the 5% of people who who trade full time, that's fine. But in general, no. So that's for me kind of a stream of income that just give you more wealth. But overall, it's not a full time thing for sure. Sammy, yeah, Sammy, yeah, Naked Forex, that's good. Not a price action book, but Bollinger by Bollinger Bands. Yeah, yeah. That's a book I have to read at some point because I use the tool. But yeah, that's a good one. Antoine, thank you. Stefan, cool. Israel, that's a really good question. I want to answer that. And this is gonna be related to Canada pretty much because I don't know about other countries, and this is kind of non-trading related at all. But this is a really good question. So Israel, so what I've seen, so to explain to you guys basically overall is that in Canada you get kind of health insurance, especially in Quebec, and you get this health insurance. But when you leave the country for some time, or when you're not staying in the country for some time, I think you have to stay like 6 months per year, pretty much. If you're not staying 6 months per year, you lose all the benefits, the health insurance and all that stuff, because no health care, no anything. And so this is kind of bad. Last year, I didn't leave Canada more than 6 months, so I was supposed to keep the health insurance. But I've learned since then, and this is to be verified for sure, but I've learned since then that if you leave um, below 21 days, let's say you leave Canada for let's see, 20, well, 19 days, for example, even if you were to leave like all year for 19 days, but then you come back and you stay a few days and you leave, this would be kind of acceptable. It doesn't count in the 6 month. So you would still be able to leave every like leave 20 days and then come back 2 days, then leave 20 days, come back 2 days, and you will still be fine. So that's maybe what I'll do for the rest of the year, or not. I don't know, but yeah, you have the fact that if you leave the country too long, you lose the health insurance, which is part of the plan. Yeah. So hope that makes sense, and it's kind of unrelated to what we talked about, but that's the answer. Hope that makes sense. Of course. Gregory, you missed a lot of stuff, man. We talked about 100 different topics. If you have any questions, just comment below and we'll make sure to answer your question. And that's valid for everyone as well as Gregory. What is the what is the lowest time frame you use successfully and really read this badly. What is the lowest time frame you use successfully and consistently? I really like the 5 minute chart on AODGPY in the Asian session. I used to trade that pretty well. That worked really fine. That's kind of the lowest one. Canada for the win. Love that. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Chat will make sure to answer your question. 32 people watching. That's awesome. And yeah. That's pretty good. We have some dogs that are barking outside. Huh. Yeah, meetups in Montreal. I'm not sure about the dates. I know the meetup in. Let me check that. Let me check that out for fun. If you guys want to come to Montreal and go to the meetup, I'm not gonna be there for the next one. But yeah, it's interesting as always, of course. Back in Ho Chi Minh, I don't know. That's gonna be in some time. I kind of liked Ho Chi Minh, but kind of didn't like it too much. So, but yeah, I still like it. What's your general opinion on traders? Cool, arrogant? I agree with that's a good question. Most traders, I'll tell you, most traders are kind of fascinating to me. They're kind of very interesting. It's most like 98% of people I talk to in trading, they're really strong on personal development and becoming better, on learning always, and working on their craft. Like there's this like 2% of people who are not doing much and they just trade and they just trade and they're happy with that, making like even low money but just be able to trade. But most people are really having big goals. They're strict. They're very disciplined, and they're kind of tough on themselves as well. They're not like lazy people most of the time. So it's kind of always funny, always interesting, and I think we can learn on other people. Now, some people, I'll argue, are kind of more arrogant. Yeah, they really believe in what they do, and they they kind of, I don't want to say push people, but they kind of try to force people to adopt their way of seeing things. But these people usually are not good traders. It's not they're not profitable. If you have to push people to adopt your way of doing things, you're probably doing something wrong, and you're probably too like too trying to prove your point, which is not really good. So, but most people I talk to are awesome, and there's always this like kind of similarities between people because you do the same thing they do when they trade, kind of. So you can again get friends with traders very easily. I feel. Next meetup in Montreal, guys, June 19 at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're ever in Montreal. But yeah. What about Vancouver, Canada? Vancouver Forex via it's a place I might want to visit, but I don't know. I'll have to plan a little bit more. You have securities issue when you travel. In travel, not too much. No, unless you're in some weird places, but it's been pretty good so far. I didn't have any problem. I think I might have been lucky a few times, but no, not too much. Yeah, June 19th. Antoine had it. Perfect. Merci, Antoine. Actually, let me put the link here. If you go in the Facebook group, you might not see the event. So we'll put this in the chat for you guys in Montreal or wanting to go to Montreal. Anyway, yeah. I don't mind catching up with you. Yeah. Craig, yeah, sure. What's up, Craig? Yeah. I'm gonna be in London, I guess. I'm gonna be in Dublin, but yeah. Yeah, Gregory, that's a good question again. He's asking how do you get the feeling of fulfillment in work or when trading, I guess. So because trading, like you trade and then there's not too much fulfillment other than the fact that you might win some money, but then some days you lose some money, and you cannot just get attached to win or lose. Dogs are wow. So yeah, you cannot get attached to win or lose. So you have to find some other ways to get fulfillment. And there's two ways to answer that. So first way is that you get fulfillment from some other place and treat trading as a boring business, which is kind of what I do, partly. So I do other things that I like more, that kind of bring me in touch with people, that help me contact people, help people, and feel like I contribute more. The other thing you can do is to find fulfillment in your trading. So trading is a lot of a game of like becoming better, working on your craft, and you can find fulfillment sometimes just in tracking how you progress, like what you do now, what are your goals, how you achieve your goals, what progress did you make the past 6 months, the past year, the past 2 years, and that can be fulfilling in itself, as long as you are someone who's achievement oriented. If you're not, it's gonna be tough, right? Because then you achieve things, but you don't really appreciate them. But if you are achievement oriented, which means that you are looking to achieve more and you track your stuff and you're happy when you progress, you're happy when you reach your goal, then that's good. Most people are that way. Most people they are goal striving mechanism, as said in Psycho Cybernetic, the book. So yeah, that's the point. What's the difference between the training environment, as you mentioned, in Vancouver and Montreal? I have no idea about Vancouver. I've never been there before, but it's a place I want to go to at some point. I have some friends there. But yeah, Montreal. Montreal is. I feel. I don't know if you have anyone from Vancouver or anybody who's been to Vancouver, but I feel like Montreal is maybe more relaxed, more kind of European, maybe less modern a little bit. I don't know, maybe less Chinese too a little bit, but yeah, it's a different environment. I think there's nothing wrong with one or the other. I was speaking with a trader though. Okay, you live in Vancouver, cool. I was speaking with a trader who said that, and he's been to many countries. He's trading a few $1 million, and he said that Montreal is maybe the best place in North America where you get like a really good quality of life for kind of a reasonable price, as opposed to cities like Vancouver, New York, Toronto, and all these places. So it's kind of a good, I guess, price in some sorts, but it really depends how you see it and what kind of things you live in, of course. But yeah, that's that's how it is. But I don't know. I'll have to see Vancouver and see what it looks like to be able to judge on that question. Yeah. Alright, guys. So I'll have to conclude it for today. But I really appreciate you guys joining me live on the spot like this, on the go, without any, I guess, pre-notice or whatever. And yeah. So the interview was canceled, but it's gonna be I guess rescheduled to another time. And if you guys want to see more like this, make sure you subscribe to this channel. There's one more video like this pretty much every single day. Tomorrow's video is scheduled. I just didn't want to publish it today, but it's gonna be scheduled about a pretty cool. What was the video? Tomorrow we talk about something interesting for sure, but the day after is gonna be interesting. Another lesson I learned, and we'll catch you guys pretty soon. If you need any help or need any advice, just comment below, leave me a comment, leave me an email or whatever, and we'll make sure to help you out. And Academy is linked below as always, but you don't need to check it out. You check it out if you want. And I'll see you guys pretty soon. Ciao.